This video is sponsored by nothing. I have put Nate in a place he calls the Birch prison. He is going to try to survive in one chunk to see how far he can get. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any way to get lava to get to the nether, so he can't get very far. The first thing he did was chop down all the trees in his chunk, immediately turning them all to planks without making charcoal. Usually during a challenge like this one, the player would have ways of automating early resources. In Skyblock, you get a lava bucket, then after buying dripstone from the wandering trader, you can make more. To get villagers, you need to cure 2 zombie villagers, but this requires a golden apple. After making a pickaxe, he started digging down until he found a cave. In Skyblock, you obtain gold from pigmen and apples from the oak tree you started with, but here there are only birch trees. This means that even though the trader could sell oak saplings, there's no way to get the emeralds. If the border expanded, he could reach the dark oak trees for an apple, but with no lava, progression stops there. Look at this idiot struggle with the water. His first thought was that the room he found was big enough for a mob farm, because he assumed that the world border would make everything spawn in one place. Mob farms usually have to be built high in the sky, then the player can AFK even higher. In Skyblock, this isn't an issue because there is nowhere else in the world that mobs can spawn. He then returned to the surface to smelt his iron ore and stare into space. This is what you get for disobeying me. Remember when I told you to do as I said? You should have listened. While mining, Nate found enough iron for a new pickaxe and found part of a lush cave, giving him access to moss. Moss was important because now he had a way to make bone meal. Next, he wasted a load of time building a mob farm that wouldn't work. After his realization, he decided to dig down some more and found a dungeon in the corner of the chunk, making it awkward to work with. After planting his new carrot, he tried to get some height to make the useless mob farm work, which predictably didn't since it needs to be built in the sky, just like a regular world. Turning the zombie spawner into a farm wasn't a bad idea, because now he had rotten flesh so he wouldn't starve to death. Zombies are great for trying to get iron, but otherwise, not much more can come from building this. Then he built a house. After realizing that he was basically trapped, he decided to build a house with the materials he had gathered from mining. Using deep slate and birch, he made a little place to sleep, except for the part where he didn't move the bed. He covered the roof in moss to grow more birch trees, which was basically useless because the only thing he could do now was make an actual mob farm, which wouldn't help with progression. This is just the first challenge he will have to face. I'll keep making him do challenges until he learns to listen to me. In conclusion, Nate wasted a lot of time making a useless mob farm, but with barely any resources in the chunk, there wasn't really much he could do. Maybe if he was on a Skyblock island, he'd play a little smarter. But we will see. Are you enjoying your birch prison, Nate? Have you learned your lesson? This is just the beginning. There are plenty more ways to make you suffer.